Hello, this is Jane Goodall, and wondering what I'm going to say to you, share with you. I think I'll talk about how incredibly lucky I've been in this life. And it was almost as though a path was laid out for me from childhood, and all I had to do was make the right decisions at crossroads in that path, and I hope that I have. I was born loving animals, loving nature, loving being by myself, loving books because there was no TV or any of these other gadgets when I was young. I was also born with an amazing and supportive mother. I dreamed of going to Africa when I was 10 years old. I wanted to live with wild animals and write about them. And everybody laughed at me. How would I do that? I was just a girl, and there was a war going on, and Africa was far away, and we didn't have any money. But my mother would say, if you really want this, you're going to have to work extremely hard, but take advantage of every opportunity. And if you don't give up, then maybe you find a way. Well, as many of you know, I did get to Africa, but I learned more lessons along this path before I got there. At the end of the war, I was 10 or 11, and I saw the pictures of the survivors of the Holocaust. That changed my view of human nature. I grew up in a Christian family. My grandfather was a congregational minister, and I was so shocked. I spent hours thinking about it. I don't think I ever was the same person again. And then on my way out to Africa, it was by boat. And the first place we landed, because we had to go all the way around Cape Town, was Cape Town. It was the height of apartheid. And there were signs on all the seats and restaurant doors saying white people only. I couldn't wait to get away. I hadn't been brought up like that. And so, at any rate, I met Louis Leakey, and he sent me off to study the chimpanzees. Amazing. The animal most like us, with whom we share 98.6% of our DNA. And so soon I was learning how like us they are. Kissing, embracing, holding hands, patting one another on the back, close family bonds. A dark side, they're capable of killing and a kind of warfare, but a compassionate and loving and altruistic side as well. It was very clear there wasn't a sharp line between us and them. And yet when I was told I had to go to Cambridge and get a PhD, even though I hadn't been to college before, and I was told by the professors that I couldn't talk about chimpanzees by name, they should have number. I couldn't talk about their personalities, their minds capable of problem solving, and certainly not their emotions, happiness, sadness, fear, despair, and so on, because those were unique to us. But I was taught by my childhood teacher. Here he is, my dog, Rusty, and that, by the way, is my mother. Yeah. He taught me that that wasn't true. Anyway, I got my PhD, and I went back, and then came the best years of my life. I could spend days, weeks, out in the rainforest by myself, with or without the chimpanzees, it didn't matter. And I came to understand the importance of each little species in this amazing tapestry of life, how everyone had a role to play, and one species becomes extinct. It may seem not to matter, but maybe it was the main food source of another, which was the main food source of another, and so on, can lead to total ecosystem collapse. And learning about all of this, at the same time, I developed this very strong understanding of our spiritual connection with nature, the fact that we need nature. And out in the forest, where you understand this interconnection of all living things, this amazing, beautiful, wondrous tapestry of life, there I found myself, who I truly was, I think. I left because I realized what was happening. Across Africa, forests were going, chimpanzee numbers were decreasing. around the rest of the world, we were polluting, wasting, recklessly burning fossil fuel, plastic polluting the ocean, uh, chemicals on our agricultural ground, poisons, and washed down into the rivers and the sea when it rained. And I was learning about the discrimination that went on, and the hatred, and the warfare. I had to leave. I had to try and do something about it. I didn't know what. And leaving the forest, I didn't really make a decision. It just happened like St. Paul on the road to Damascus. I went to a conference as a scientist. We had all the chimpanzee people discussing the environment in Africa. I left as an activist. And traveling around Africa to learn more, I learned not only about the chimpanzees, but the plight of the people, the poverty. And that led to our institute starting a program, Takari, to help people find ways of living without destroying their environment. Because if you're very poor, you're going to cut down the last tree, fish the last fish, eat the cheapest junk food without worrying about how it was made and if it harmed the environment, because you have to live, you have to feed your family. So I learned the lesson that we have to mitigate poverty. I learned that we need to do something about the unsustainable lifestyle of everybody else. I learned too about the absurdity of thinking that you can have unlimited economic development, short-term gain, at the expense of the environment, on a planet with finite natural resources, and a planet with finite natural resources and an ever-growing human population. 7.2 billion of us now, estimated to be 9.7 billion of us in 2050. I don't know what will happen. We're in the middle of this terrible pandemic. It's caused immense suffering, death, loss of loved ones, loss of jobs. It's disrupted the economy. It's disrupted life for almost everyone. We brought it on ourselves. We disrespected the natural world. We disrespected animals. We forced animals in closer contact with people as we destroy their habitats. We hunt them, we eat them, and we traffic them. We put them in wildlife markets, selling them as pets or to eat. We create environments where a virus or a bacteria can easily jump from an animal to a person in these horrible conditions. It's the same in our factory farms. They're not only cruel, but they damage the environment. And it's very easy, and has happened many times, that a pathogen will jump from an animal to a person and compromise our health. We've done it to ourselves. We'll come out of this pandemic. Of course we will. We'll be confronting a much graver crisis, and that's the climate crisis. The same disrespect of the natural world has led to the climate crisis. But there is, I believe, hope. I have always thought there's hope. And if you lose hope, well, then you do nothing. You just give up. What's the point? If you think nothing that you can do or anybody can do is going to make any difference, why bother? But I have hope because of the youth. I started a program for young people that's now in 65 countries and growing all the time, young people of all ages. And the main message, every single one of all of us makes a difference. Every single day we make an impact on the planet, and we can choose the kind of impact we make. Like the species in the rainforest, each one of us has a role to play. And so many people don't realize that. But the young people choosing projects to make the world better are changing the world even as we speak. They're helping people, they're helping animals, they're helping the environment, and they're making a difference. And I have hope because of the resilience of nature. Give nature a chance, and she will reclaim places that we have totally destroyed. and life can return once more, vibrant and beautiful. And I have hope because of our incredible intellect. Biggest difference between us and chimpanzees, an intellect that has designed this magical system which allows us to communicate all around the world today. We may not be able to travel on aeroplanes, trains, buses, and cars, but we can talk to each other. And this is the great hope. And as we emerge from this pandemic, there will be hundreds of thousands of people who perhaps have breathed fresh air for the first time, looked up and seen stars shining brightly in the night sky instead of through a haze of pollution, or even not at all. And hopefully there'll be a groundswell big enough people clamoring for change, to move into a new green economy, to have a new relationship with the natural world, to think about future generations when we make decisions, and not just about ourselves and the bottom line. And we can influence businesses by refusing to buy products from companies that do things wrong and harm the environment. So this is my great hope for the future. But the window of time is closing. We must get together. We must take action now, each of us in our own way, each of us fulfilling the role that I believe we were given when we were born. Let's rise into those roles. Let's work together. Let's make a better world for future generations and all the amazing animal and plant beings that we share the planet with. Thank you so much.